Hello, hello, everybody. Here I am again. Melinda said, somebody said 3 times a good time or something like that. So I'm really pleased to be here this afternoon with Kelly, who is also well known as Cats for Me. I
Hi,
was so glad I
everybody.
could figure that name out when other people were looking at it and going, what, how did, yeah.
I
But
do think that's kind of hilarious. Some people do have an issue with it.
they
They're
just
like,
can't figure it out.
TZM.
So yes, and in Kelly's case, she has 3 cats, but 12 paws, and that's a
That's
dozen.
right.
So
That's
there
right.
we go.
All cause
Close
three
enough.
three cats.
Yeah. So I have always been happy to see Kelly on my channel when she's here. She's very interactive and lovely, and she also was on the Nasty Women birthday show the other night, where Lisa asked people to come on in. And did you have
Turning
to
my
get?
phone off. Sorry, I
Oh,
forgot to
okay.
do that.
That's okay. Lisa asked if anybody wanted to come in and talk, and Kelly did. And I had just left the show, but I was watching it, and I was pleased to see her there. And then I knew right then and there that if she was going to go on that show on the spur of the moment, maybe she would come here, and she is. And thank you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you
My
so much.
pleasure.
So let's start talking about you. I know you're in Canada, so you're not a U.S. person,
Yeah,
but
I have my shout out to Canada shirt on.
there you go. Perfect. Boy, we love you Canadians. We really do. But so as far as the fascist regime that we're dealing with here in the United States, you're not dealing with that there, although I do believe that it had affected Canadians.
It has, and different provinces have had issues. I'm on Facebook, and I had to get off about 1.5 years ago because I was, unfortunately, some of my friends were, right up into the whole Trump thing, and
Wow.
the whole freedom if we wear a mask, it's a, and so I think that could be like a big misconception that it is felt all around the world. It's not.
I agree. Yeah,
it's not just in the U.S. Obviously, in the U.S., it's much more predominant for you guys than it is for the rest of the globe. But it is definitely felt for sure. Absolutely. Which is unfortunate.
I know it is. And I'm just so glad I know a lot of Canadians now, because if I ever need a place to come, then I'm going to be giving you guys a call.
I don't know how many people want to. Exactly. I don't know how many people would want to come where I am today. I live in Ontario, and it was snowing today. So
was it? Oh, wow.
No accumulation, but it's like, I'm not
it's
ready
cold.
yet.
Yeah, it's cold. That's true. Well, I grew up in New Hampshire, and so I'm used to that, but not as cold as where you are, for sure. But we have the same kind of weather. Now I wanted to escape that area because of it, but you know what? I think I'd take snow over Donald Trump any day. So
absolutely. 100%.
Then of course we had COVID as well, and I know also from watching Andrea, Lilac Lantern, and Ron and others that you guys were shut down for quite a bit of time.
Yeah,
more so than us. Yeah,
pretty much been on lockdown since, like, I think the second week of March.
Really? Are you still on lockdown?
Well, we're not still on lockdown.
Okay.
But every province in Canada has had their own sort of rules.
Right.
And we are currently in stage 3, getting ready to proceed into stage 4, which by all accounts should be, as close to back to normal as possible. But it's been a very long process, for sure.
Right. That's true.
Now, it hasn't affected me the way that it has affected other people. As I was saying on the show with Nasty Women, that I haven't left my house in almost 4 years. So
You just
I've done it
used to
4
be,
times.
it's not any difference for you then.
Well,
It's really,
well, all of a sudden, actually, I mean, it did make a difference in a way.
okay.
Probably not in the way that anyone would expect it to, but it did make a difference to me because I went from being the strange person that was in my house and that never left to being just like everyone else. And then people started to say, oh, well, now I'm stressed and now I'm feeling caged up and I'm feeling locked in, et cetera, et cetera. And, I
Right.
can't live my life as I normally would. And so
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, I'm just like everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, forgive me, but
Fascinating.
for me personally, slightly refreshing. I mean, it's really difficult when the neighbors,
Uh-huh.
when you come outside, will say to you, like, oh, you're still alive, or something of that nature.
Like
Right?
it's their business anyway. Yeah, I know. So judgmental. That's really silly.
It's the way people are,
They
unfortunately.
are. I know. They are. But yeah, and there actually are people now, even here, that weren't on lockdown as long as you Canadians were, that say they like being home. They really like it, and they don't really want to go back out there again. And
Yeah.
I'm the sort of person that probably will. I'm in my 60s, so I'm not going to get any younger. I probably wear a mask whenever I go in any store from now on. Why
Right.
not? I
Right.
mean, I don't need to get sick, and we know it helps with colds and flu and all kinds of stuff. So,
Of course,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
I've only
But
had to wear a mask once, and that was when I went to get my first shot.
okay.
I did go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the pharmacy, and I tried to get
Yeah.
the smallest pharmacy that I could, and I phoned
Uh-huh.
ahead and said, like, I have all these issues, which is, I mean, it's so difficult, not to sort of get down on yourself when you have to sort of like call ahead and say, hey, guess what, I'm on my way, and like anything could happen, be ready,
Yeah.
be prepared. But they were lovely. And so I got my first shot, and so I'm due to go back and get my second one. My appointment's this Friday.
Oh, good. Okay. And you'll call ahead again to make sure? Is that what you'll do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Call ahead and just let them know I'm coming, and they let me go outside. I have I don't want to get too far ahead of you, but like I have a lot of fears and phobias because of the anxiety.
Understood.
Panic disorder. So like, don't close the door. I like right now the window's open, even though it's freezing cold here. So they are like, okay, we won't make you wait out the front with people. They let me go outside, and then they called me, and then they took me to the back room. And honestly, it was like the size of a closet. And I was like, oh my God, like, don't close that door. And he was like, okay, sure.
Understood. At least and they know, and you can work it out.
100%,
So
yeah.
How did it feel to go out the first time you did?
First time that I went outside, like when I go outside my back area,
your house,
my front porch,
right?
But I don't like go out in public.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time that I did was to my stepfather passed away, and so I went to my mom's house.
Okay, another loss,
which would not be what I would want
like to go out
for the first time that I was going out in public. But
that's right. Yeah.
I got to see my mom's house again, and I hadn't been there in like 7 or 8 years. So that was lovely, and I got to see my sister, and
well, that's good. So there was even though it was a sad situation, you did have elements of it that were very enjoyable. That's good.
And that was right at the beginning. That was in April of 2020. So
okay. Well, I can tell you, I don't like being out. I never have. I mean, I'm not a homebody person. I work from home and everything, but I've never liked to go to like the mall. If I go to the grocery store, that's fine. I get in, I get out as fast as I can. But now I don't even like driving because everybody's like just up your ass and getting in. It's really awful. And I just rather stay at home, and I've never been a homebody. I've always been out. And so for me, it hasn't been too bad. It hasn't been such a.
I'm always, well, not now, but previous to my condition, I was always out and about, always busy, always doing things.
Yep.
So, I mean, my idea of a great weekend was to come home, put my flannel PJs on, and watch a Jane Austen movie, and put it on repeat till Sunday night.
I understand. Yeah. Oh, I just love being in my pajamas.
That was my ideal weekend, because I
you were always out.
Right. I would work from 7:30 in the morning until 7:00 at night. That wasn't unusual for me. So,
wow. Yeah. Well, so when is it that you came to YouTube? And when I say that, I've been saying it to everybody. Like, I came and used to you have to make a thing to be able to see things. You have to put a name up or something to get an account. Doesn't mean you're on here all the time.
Yeah.
But when did you come and we're on here more often than not?
So I think that everybody knows, but just to really say, almost 10 years ago, it'll be 10 years this March, my mother passed away.
Right.
And when my mother passed away, the day after my mom passed, I found out my father was terminal. And then somewhere in between that, my mother died in 2012. My father died in 2013. And somewhere in between that, I developed anxiety, panic disorder, and depression. And anything that I used to do, anything that I did for enjoyment, I now found no enjoyment doing.
Sure.
So I am a TV-aholic. I am the definition of a couch potato. And all of a sudden, I couldn't watch TV anymore.
Oh, okay.
There are many things that if you have anxiety that affect you that I don't know that people know or recognize or realize. There's a lot of physical things that can happen to you. But there's a lot of sort of behind the scenes, I like to sort of refer to it as. So you can't concentrate. You have absolutely no focus. Sometimes you slur your speech. You could be sitting there and all of a sudden your heart starts racing and you break out in a cold sweat and you're not really sure why. So
tachycardia. That's what they call that. A tachycardia.
So I would get like that nervous feeling, and it would like be there for like 7 days. Like it would not let up and it wouldn't go away, but it wasn't enough to put me into a panic attack, but it wasn't enough for me to be able to calm down. And so I would end up doing like 5-6 things at once to distract me. And I couldn't concentrate on a TV program, so I started going on YouTube. I would watch 5 minutes of this and 3 minutes of that, and you know what I mean. And I could be going all over the place, and it sort of felt like I was actually doing what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that answered your question or not, but that's when I
So that was just a way of connecting, a way of being able to connect, but not being going from place to place just made sense or just felt good, or you were able to do that. Yeah.
My grandmother would refer to that as being a fart in a mitt. That's what I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when my stepfather passed, I started coming to YouTube, specifically to Revealing Light, Marianne from Revealing Light, who is
she's wonderful.
She's so awesome. And I started listening to her horoscopes. And then I would send my sister hers, and we would talk. And then I found Andrea from Lilac Lantern, fellow Canadian.
Yeah.
And we had some issues with my mother's estate, and so we were like on the edges of our seat every month waiting for the horoscope from Marianne.
Oh.
And
Understood.
yeah, and then I had Andrea do a personal reading for me last December, and she was just, I mean,
Yes.
There really isn't enough words to express my gratitude towards her. She was just lovely.
Right.
She took, I mean, it was a half an hour reading, and she talked to me for like an hour and a half, and
Yes.
so supportive and kind and just lovely. And I sort of left that thinking, wow,
There are people out there
that care, and they're nice, and
mm-hmm.
that's when I started like finding other
readers,
and that's it. Sort of like slowly transitioned from that reading from Andrea.
Well, that's very interesting to me because it was Andrea who I had a reading with last winter, just before I opened this channel. Yes, she told my husband to open a channel, and actually he worked with me for about a month. Then he got busy doing something else, and I kept it. And but it was Andrea that I found first, and we loved her readings about the political. And she's so, she doesn't even live in the United States, and she knew everything about everything. And it just was. And then I met the others from her, so it is interesting that, and Marianne as well. I listened to Marianne.
Yeah, Marianne is there's something about her voice that I find very, I mean,
soothing.
This is the highest compliment that I could pay anyone. The way that she speaks, her speech pattern is very much like my mother's, and it's like if you want a no nonsense reading, that's where you're gonna go.
But to listen to Marianne. Yeah. No, she's was amazing. I'm sure you know that I got to interview her, and she doesn't give anybody she doesn't give anybody interviews, except she works with Dr. Skirbo, but that's correct, that's very rare. But I just I felt like I was
privileged, for sure.
You're very privileged to be able to to work with her. So
she's a wonderful lady.
She really is. She's brilliant. She really is brilliant as well.
Very, very intelligent woman.
Yep, very intelligent. So basically, right after that situation with Andrea last year, let's say, you got more and more involved with the community. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so when you found this community, were you also? I know you had a good reading with her, and she was very kind and everything. But did it also give you more hope? Give you a little bit of inspiration?
It did.
Okay.
But I didn't really get the bug. Right. But I started seeing, hi puppy, so cute. I started watching other readers. So I think I found Debbie Freebeard Spirit and Scott and
Danny.
And I don't think I found Danny quite yet, but I had gone on those shows and realized that, I could put a question up and they can answer. And so I was constantly asking about like the court case and the estate and all this kind of thing, right?
Okay, sure.
And that's when I started to recognize the wonderful people in the chat and how kind and how supportive and all of them, sending prayers and love and light and blessings and, wonderful reading. And, then you pop up and they'd be like, hi, dozen cats for me. And
that matters. It matters.
I mean, honestly, I don't want, this is unexpected. I'm getting emotional just talking about it. Because my circle is so small. Intentionally.
Right.
Because anyone that has anxiety, panic disorder, depression, or any kind of mental health issue will totally understand what I'm saying when I say to you that if you happen to be able to keep your circle of friends that you had from before, You are very fortunate, because a lot of people just don't understand.
No, they don't. And they feel kind of funny, or I don't know what it is, but I've seen that. I've seen that people pull
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody says they have cancer,
Yeah.
people, they don't know what to say, so they don't say anything, or they just pull away. I know that's not the same problem, but you could, it's
Yeah, no,
weird.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't enough words, honestly. So I started going in the chat, and I was starting to experience that.
Good.
And you know, I am a social butterfly. I'm not an introvert. I don't hang out in the house. You know, I have tons and tons and tons of friends. I don't have a lot of besties, but I have a lot of acquaintance friends.
Right.
Love to be out. I love to talk, clearly. I've never been accused of being quiet. And so all of a sudden, people were being nice to me, and I was making, like, almost felt like I had friends, and I was like, I couldn't get enough of it.
I understand. Yeah.
And so I was going to every show that I could find to ask the questions, and then I would get this, like, fantastic bonus of having all these
everybody saying, "Oh, hi!"
people.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, if there's anyone that is listening now or will ever listen to this video that has ever felt isolated or alone or judged, I mean, you know, spend 1 week and go in every chat room of every single one of the reader shows, and they will no longer feel that way.
Yeah, I agree.
That is what this community did for me. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. It has. I mean, and honestly, I feel like a new person.
That's great, boy.
Like, I feel alive.
Yeah.
And I don't want to cut you off, but I do want to say this, and I hope that, again, if anyone's listening, that they can understand sort of how much it means to me on an emotional level, and how much it means to me for just like, you know, the gratitude, or the appreciation for it.
No.
About 3 months after my mom passed, I had gone through, here in Canada, we have employee assistance programs where we can phone in and get, like, free this and free that.
Right.
And I had phoned in to ask to speak to a therapist. And one of the questions that the therapist asked me was, what can I do? What can Kelly do to make Kelly happy? It's been 9 3/4 years, and I have absolutely no idea what that is. Wow. Because everything that I did, and this is from the therapist, this is not me talking, this therapist talking. Right. Every answer that I gave them was like, well, no, that doesn't really count because you did that with your mom.
Really?
Like I lost my identity somehow. Like I couldn't separate. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes.
So I said at garden, but I gardened with my mom. I could say shopping, but I shopped with my mom. You know, everything that I could do cooking, but I cooked with my mom. So it's like, okay, I have, like, what's my purpose? What do I do? I don't even know who I am. Yeah.
Wow.
That's horrible.
It is horrible. And it's almost like a self-perpetuating mouse chasing its tail, in a way.
Yeah. Well, you're on this constant quest to do something, anything, because that helps. That, like, you know,
right.
And maybe you might get lucky, and it might actually work.
Yes.
But most of the time, it ends up being nothing more than a minor distraction, not an actual solution, right?
Right.
And so, 50 minutes or 5 months, and like I'm over it and I need something else because I wasn't fully invested. I didn't really care.
Right.
When I found this community and I found the readings and the people, and I'm like, ooh, numerology, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, auras and colors, well, that's neat. Ooh, palmistry, let's talk about that. I mean, I'm finding crystals. Wow, this is cool. So I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Like
And
I
it's
went,
free.
a whole bunch of tarot cards and oracle cards, and I'm
Cool.
doing all kinds of things. But I mean, I'm actually like enjoying something, and I feel good about it.
Good.
Um,
Finding yourself and your gifts and your power. It sounds like those things.
Definitely finding my power, Allie, 100%. And I couldn't have done this without the help of all the readers and the people in the chat that talk to me all the time.
Yeah.
I will tell you that there are many times when I say something in the chat and think, oh God, don't, quiet. You shouldn't have said it, Kelly. And I beat myself up. Like when I jumped on with the nasty women, I was like, I'm going to beat myself up. And I did. When I read it to you, it's just part and parcel of.
I know of the issue. I understand.
Yep.
Yeah. We have when you're in that situation, your confidence. I can't tell you. I still do the same thing. I might say something or do something myself.
Right.
And then somebody, I don't know, might say something or say, I can't meet with you, or, and I'm wondering, did I do something wrong? Did I say something, and so I have that sensitivity, and mine I attribute to my Pisces moon. But, I think we all have that in some regard, and I'm not diminishing what you have at all. I understand. But I think we all can lack confidence in ourselves and how, because people take things out of context so much.
They do. Yeah. And again, well, this is how this rolls, right? So I've never been a non-confident person.
Okay. And that's hard for you because you always were
confident. Yeah. Not in my vocabulary. I honestly, I feel like I'm living in someone else's body. I mean, the outside looks exactly the same. Well, other than I'm a lot older than I was 9 years ago. But the inside feels the same. I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about some of my humor and some of the things that I do. And I feel like I'm about, 38, 39 years old, but my daughter's older than that. I'm not that age anymore. And so sometimes it doesn't mesh with what I feel about myself, but I also know that I'm an older woman, and I agree. I understand that. I embrace it, but sometimes I'm like, wow, I don't know,
Yeah.
But
I understand what you mean. It's very, it's difficult to.
It's unsettling.
That's a really good word for it.
Yeah. Yep.
That is a really good word for it.
Yeah. Because you know who you were, and you know who you are, and you also know that if you had been that way, why couldn't you still be that way? What is stopping that from happening? And I'm not a therapist, so I don't know the answer.
No, but you're onto something there, because my personal struggle with that kind of like sentence or that kind of topic is, I'm told that I am supposed to love myself, that I am no different. I am still me. Because if I believe that I'm not me, then somehow I am diminishing myself, right? I am demeaning myself, and I'm setting myself up to be miserable. Yeah. I have to love myself in order to move forward. That's great. So on a good day, I love myself.
Right.
The problem with any kind of mental disorder, and I mean, I can't speak to any of them except for the one that I have, but the problem with that is it takes me about 90 seconds to fall backwards. And it takes me about 8 months to
get you.
get back
No,
to
I
where
get
I
you.
was.
Yep.
So
I do.
It's a very fine line that you walk, trying to
Right.
convince yourself that you are who you are, that you're the same person that you are, that you're just as good as you were. However, you can't do what you used to do. You can't go where you used to go. You can't talk to who you used to talk to. It's very, very difficult to love yourself. And one of the things that I am very grateful for. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear the cat is meowing.
It's fine to hear kitty cats. I love that. This one here might bark, but that's okay.
One of the things that's really, really difficult is to accept that. And being part of this community, I am learning about being grateful. Now, that might sound crazy to people that I wouldn't, but I'm not grateful that I'm in this spot. I'm not grateful that my life got sucked out from underneath me through absolutely nothing that had anything to do with me. I mean, one day I was Kelly, and the next day I was like, what?
Yeah, a void.
And I'm not saying this because I want sympathy.
No, we know.
I'm saying this because I want other people to know that they are not alone if this particular situation occurs for them.
Correct. No, it's
all of a sudden, Allie, I was sitting on my couch at home and I literally couldn't move.
Wow.
I would sit in the same spot for 4 days, for 5 days. My husband would come home and he'd look at me and he'd be like, you okay?
And it's hard for them to understand as well because they knew you before. Yeah.
And he'd say to me, like, how was your day? And I would freak out. Well, I'm still sitting here. What do you think my day was like? And I'd walk away. Then the physical symptoms come on with the anxiety, right? You're lightheaded, you're dizzy, your throat closes up, your heart's beating out of your chest, you're nauseous all the time.
Yep.
You get little like electric.
My mother had the same thing.
Yep. Hands, your feet, whatever. You get tingles in your head.
Wow.
It just, honestly, it's not for it. And what's funny about that is that, I was just going to say it's not for the weak.
I know.
Because I used to be told all the time how strong I was, and I felt like I was. I felt like I wore that like a badge of honor.
Badge of honor. Yeah.
And
but everybody can't be strong all the time, no matter how strong they are. And there has to be a time where somebody else picks up and takes over. I mean, it's
100%.
It's exhausting.
Well, that was what I was getting to, though. About, like, this new, like, trying to accept this new version of myself, right?
Yes.
So,
and Beth is right. Even in the best of times, loving ourselves is a hard thing to do. And not beating up on ourselves for things.
Yeah, especially when you feel like you would a lot of times with me in particular, I feel like I should be doing more. I should be doing better. I should be further along.
Yeah.
It is this constant hamster in the wheel, like you said before, of like beating yourself up and self-sabotage. I mean, I should wear a crown. I mean, I am the queen of self-sabotage.
I do.
And it's just it's a really, really, really difficult headspace to sort of navigate. And then you come on and you meet these people that don't know you from anywhere,
and they accept you
the most lovely things to you and being so kind and so supportive. I mean, my God, there isn't enough words that I can say to show my appreciation and my thanks. I'm just honestly, I'm floored at the support that anyone can receive in this community. Like, just phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
I don't think I've ever seen it quite like this ever anywhere else that I have ever seen. And like I say, I used to come on YouTube and watch a video about something or music or whatever, but I never came on and listened to everything until like last year when it was really bad.
Yeah.
And I've just seen it morph. I've seen people starting to open channels that were introverts and didn't. I see more subscribers. I see everybody I go into Nasty Women and there you are, there everybody is. And I go over here to Andrea's and everybody's there. And it's just like, it makes you also feel like you're part of this sort of special pack of people that know each other, you know?
I feel a little lost. I almost feel like I need an index at the back of the book because I'm a little unsure of some of the things that we're talking about, you know, like forgiveness and the whole like spirituality thing. But like, I'm totally into it. Like I can't wait.
You're willing to learn.
That's wait to get to school the next day. You know what I mean? And figure out what the next lesson is going to be. Like, I'm totally into that part of it.
Yeah. And fortunately, you have Google, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I just find it so. I mean, honestly, I've only had this experience one other time in my life, and now don't laugh, everybody who's going to watch this. So when I was 4 years old, I was taken to a place because I wanted to learn to dance, you know, like tap dance or whatever the case may be. And my mother took me to a trailer, like a construction trailer that was set up as an office. That was a tap and jazz and ballet school. And that lasted, you know, all about 18 minutes. Anyway, I ended up at 4.5 joining a baton twirling club. So like majorette.
Yep.
Notice how I just went like that as if I was twirling a baton. I don't know where the hand was.
We do that all the time. Yes.
And from 4.5 to 20 years old, I twirled baton.
Wow. So you had a community of twirlers that loved the same thing.
I got to experience that with my sister, which was amazing. And just after my mom died, in my quest to find my happy, I started a Facebook group for my baton club, which is no longer in existence. And we haven't seen each other in like 20, 30 years kind of idea, or longer in some people's cases. Some of them I don't even know because, of course, they would be older than me and they were in different groups or whatever. And but I tell you, when one of them needs somebody or says something, every single one of us knows exactly what that moment was like, whether we were with them or we were with someone else. We all shared the same experience. And when very, very quickly, I was part of a military, what they call the military corps. Okay. Baton twirling in Canada is very different than it is in the US. I need to say that in case there's any future baton twirlers listening. And we, for example, in 1979. Yep, that's how old Kelly is. I traveled to South Bend, Indiana, and competed with my corps. There was 103 or 104 of us in total for the World Championships.
Wow.
Like, it was no joke what I was a part of. And before you take the floor for competition, you have people walking up and down the lines, and you're only allowed to like declare like 3 or 4 things. Like, for example, if your zippers are like different shades of whatever the color is, or like maybe like your feathers out of your hat or whatever the case may be. And so you just worked a whole year and paid all this money to travel to this place, and you might not even make it on the floor to compete, to find out that you were.
You got to be careful. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that is the only time that I have ever felt part of a community of like-minded people where we were all in it to win it because we didn't really have a choice. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes,
all of
I
our
do.
efforts
Yeah.
were appreciated because we all knew exactly what it took to get you
Sure.
there, right?
Yeah.
That's
It's almost like military if you think about it.
it was very
Yeah.
I used to twirl a rifle too, and
Did you really? That's
not a
cool.
real rifle, but
Did you guys win? Did you win?
Well, when I went to the World Championships, I held the Canadian flag as part of what they call the National Guard, and
Yes.
the color guard, which I was a part of, won first place. And then I came home and I got a civic award from the city that I represented. So that was very cool.
Wow. Look
Yeah.
at that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, I have an actual gold medal, even
Good
though
for
it's
you.
not considered a sport.
Right.
I used to
But
have a
it
lady
is.
fly in from New York who gave me lessons, and then my father would have to take me to the emergency department. Honestly, that happened like 4 times in a row, and my dad was like, "You know what? I don't think this
This is enough of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cirque du Soleil,
That is really cool, though.
I'm not."
Well, Andrea Galvin says there's a book about us, Wounded Healers. And she said here that the therapeutic value of one wounded healer helping another is without parallel. So your story touches other stories, and other stories have touched your story. And
Most definitely.
It's finding people who understand your pain maybe in a different way, but they understand that, and I can imagine that that is very valuable in this
100%.
community for
100%.
people who
100%. I wanted to share this with you because I touched on this when I went on Nasty Women, and I want to say this again. So you had Jean on your show. Jean's Sun Psychic, I believe, is what what her name is.
Psychic Jean.
And she's amazing.
She's very good.
Honestly, like I said, I've had a lot of therapy, and I paid a lot of money, and that's the best half an hour of therapy I ever received. And it wasn't that I tuned into my mom or anything like that. It was the healing exercise that she gave me was so powerful.
Wonderful.
And one of the things that she said to me is sort of was like my light bulb went off. She said to me that that she felt that I was empathic, and that I was going to help a neighbor or someone in the supermarket or someone like that. That was what I could bring to the table, was that I could support someone that is going through a hard time and help them. Which made me feel good because, why wouldn't you want to help somebody?
Right.
And I told her that about an hour before we had our session, my neighbor had come over who had just lost her husband 2 days previous to that. And as she was walking back to her house, I said to her, "Are you sure you're okay? You're all right?" And she said, "I think so, but I don't think it's really hit me yet." And I said, "Well, just remember the tapping." And she said, "Yeah, because that really helped me the last time." So that freaked Jean out that she had said that I was going to help my neighbor, and I said, "Well, my neighbor was just here." So when she confirmed that for me, I was like, you know what? All of a sudden, I felt like I do have a purpose. I do have something to offer.
You do.
And
you absolutely do.
I was like, I can take on the world now. Like, I mean, it's not that I didn't believe it.
But you've been so stuck in this.
Sometimes, and anybody again out there that knows or has ever had anything similar, you could say the same thing to me 10 times, and until I am, because hearing and listening are very different things.
They are.
I wasn't ready to receive that message yet. until Jean said it to me. And when she said it to me, I was like, okay, like you're on. And I've been sitting here the last week going, I'm starting my own channel. I've got all my episodes lined up, you know, what I'm going to do. And you and Scott, in the interview that you did with Scott, I mean, when I asked about the forgiveness, between what you said in your video on rituals and ceremonies, and then what you said in that episode with Scott, and what Scott said, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make that an episode on my channel, one of my first ones. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to start my little fire pit. And we're going to have a forgiveness sort of ceremony.
Excellent. Oh,
and I mean, honestly, like I'm shaking like a leaf as I say it because I'm so ready. I'm so ready. And if I have something to forgive, I'm pretty certain other people have something to forgive.
Absolutely.
Also. And the weight of it, I mean, I feel like I'm wearing cement shoes, so I can't wait to take those off, you know?
Yep. And it is what it is, Kelly. Yeah. Whatever happens is the way it's supposed to happen.
Right.
And you know, I look at some of my shows and go, oh, why did I do that? But I got to let it go. I got to let it go. Yeah. It isn't that important. It just isn't that important. That is so beautiful. It's right. Valerie says, and Valerie's just really moved up her channel somewhat. But I love this. And this is true. As wounded healers, we then reach out our hands and say, take my hand. I'm a couple of steps ahead, one in the same journey. And I know you can get as far as I am, and together we'll continue.
And you will be so smart. Beautiful. Like, honestly, she always has the most deep and profound things to add to conversations in the different live streams. Yep. I just appreciate Andrea so much for the wonderful
I do too. And we're going to be working. Yeah, we're going to be working on a series as well pretty soon that she has come up with, and I'm looking forward to it. But I want you to know that people are here to support you as well, and anything that you want to collaborate
talking
with.
About me, I'm kind of feeling a little bit weird about it, I have to say.
No, everybody's really thinking it's inspiring and beautiful. I don't know that I would have believed that you would tell me that today for some reason, because you just blew my mind, and I am so impressed and happy for you. I really
don't want to blow your mind anymore, but I had a dream about you. Is that weird?
Oh, well, no.
It wasn't actually the greatest dream in the world, I have to say. But you were there, and so was Jean. So I tend to think that you must have been
supporting you.
What's that?
Yeah. Maybe we were there supporting you. In other words, whatever the dream was.
I think that you must have been there as playing like a supporting role. I don't remember much of the dream, but it freaked me out. And I mean, I couldn't sleep for like 2 nights after. No, it was a scary dream. I was being attacked by someone. And you two helped me get away. And then you were sitting with me in like, not in my bed, but like in my bedroom, and telling me like, it's okay, it's safe for me to go to sleep. Okay. And just as I went to put my head down on the pillow, the door like came flying open, and this big, tall man was standing there, and that was it. I shot up like awake. So I don't,
Well, you know, it could be the boogeyman. Anytime you start a new thing, you haven't done anything for a while, there's a little bit of fear involved. I don't care how outgoing whatever.
That was what I mean, I'm not really into analyzing my dreams, but I thought about it. And I thought to myself, you know what? Oh, thank you, Chris. Very kind. One of the things that I thought of was that's me facing my fear. That's what that is. And having the support around me. And so I chose to look at it in a positive way.
I agree. No, I agree. That is your fear. It's like the boogeyman. You know what I mean? It was in 100%. A representative form. Yeah.
That's a thing that I'm doing now is really, really, really trying to
do it anyway. Have you ever heard that?
I'm trying to be kind to myself, but I'm also trying to push myself when I feel like I can.
Yep. I understand.
And I know that I can. I
Yep.
mean, in 2014, I said to you that I had had my last panic attack. Now, when I say my last, I mean, I don't know if it's my last, but it's
Right.
been a
For
bit
now.
of a touch
Yeah.
wood.
Right.
And I just want to, you know, not to bring the party down, but I do want to say this because it's important to me, in
Yep.
case anyone's listening. So it affects my digestion in a bad way.
I'm sure.
And like I'm constantly walking around with a nervous stomach, feeling, you know, sickly and gassy and whatever. And so I had like a big thing happening at work, lots, like it was you know, intense couple of days. And I drove into work with like my pants undone and like rubbing my belly and going, oh my God, like when is this? And I was like, I got to get into the bathroom. I don't know if I'm gonna, you know, if it's coming out one way or the other. And I got into work and I thought, I like nothing, I got to come back out. So I'm sitting in my car. And my husband is like at work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I text him and I tell him I'm starting to panic. And so that means I can't speak. My throat closes up. I can't talk. And so he phones me. So he's on the phone talking through the radio and I'm texting him. And he's like, you know, you're going to be okay. You're all right. I'm sitting in the parking lot. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And he calls into my work and tells the receptionist to come out, who brings me a glass of water. And I've got the cup and I'm doing this and the tears are coming down my face. And like now I'm totally humiliated. Everyone's driving in. Everyone's looking at me. They're waving. And I'm like trying to hide. And she came out to the car and handed me the water. And I took the water and I'm like, oh, like, and now she's crying because I scared her. And she went in and got my boss, and then my boss came out, and I'm like, this is the worst. I mean,
it's not what you wanted. Yeah. Not what you wanted.
My husband came and we left my car there, and he took me home. And then I had a little talk with myself, which I do often, but this time it was in the mirror. I have this theory that you can't lie to yourself. So I look myself square in the mirror and I'm like, you're fine. You've got this. You're strong enough. You've got the power. Take the power back. Tell the panic to F off. You're in charge.
Right.
And I find that if I do that, like
works.
Instant. I don't feel calmer, but I feel like I'm steeled myself.
In charge. I mean? Yeah.
And so if anyone's listening and that ever happens to you, try that because it works, or at least it worked for me.
And Valerie, she had said this about your dream, but I believe it's the same thing with the mirror work.
Yeah.
It's meeting your shadow and facing your shadow. And that's not easy for anybody to do, but wow.
It's not.
So much here is valuable information. And I agree, Libra Lady, the situation showed how many other people care about you.
Yes.
But at the same time, it was embarrassing for you because you weren't seeking the attention, is what I'm guessing. You weren't seeking.
No, I don't.
Right. It was embarrassing.
I was not happy at all that anyone, I mean, if I could have snuck in and snuck out, that would have been much better. Right.
Yeah, I understand. I do.
I was appreciative, obviously.
Yes, of course. But it's like, don't draw attention to me. I'm fine. Just go away.
I think honestly, and I don't want to, I'm just trying to be honest. Mm-hmm. I don't really think of myself as a vain person, but I was humiliated, that anyone would see me that way because they don't know me that way. They know me as like, yep, I got this all figured out, right? Cool cucumber. I got, you know what I mean? Yes. So, whenever you let anyone see your vulnerabilities like that, it can be difficult to
It
sort
can
of
be.
deal with, right?
Yes, it can. I've had people tell me, well, you've never, if I've done something that wasn't what they expected, let's say,
Right,
ooh, you never, why are you doing that? What, it's like, I'm not perfect.
right,
I just,
right.
I'm not. It's just,
Yeah, I've always held myself to a very high standard, and I'm not really sure where that came from.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
I've always had the fear of disappointing my parents.
Hmm.
Never like I always thought I was just like one step below where I needed to be.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like chill out and relax and just,
I think that your channel will be very therapeutic, not only for yourself, but for people who find their way to it. And people will find their way. It might take a little bit of
yeah.
time or
I
whatever,
mean,
but
you know what?
yeah,
If I can make one person feel okay,
that's
um,
one of the things that
just
I
just
always said.
to know
Yeah.
that they're not by themselves and that other people do experience it. I mean, everyone who has any kind of anxiety or depression or any kind of mental health disorder, our signs and symptoms are in the way that we experience it are very different. Like really,
Yes.
there's no two that are the same.
Right.
However, the feeling is the same. It
Hmm.
is absolute sheer fear that is the force behind it. Anxiety is based on fear. And it
Yeah.
is not, when people are, I can't, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've said, well, I'm like antsy or whatever. And someone's like, oh, you just need to relax. This
Yeah.
isn't what this is.
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there's many people out there, and it's funny, you say it to someone and they're like, oh, my sister has it, my brother has it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
No, and I don't think people did. My mother she had electronic shock therapy when I was
oh my
8 years
god.
old. And she had depression for her a long, long time. And that was when it was, you have to
Yeah,
hide, because
100%.
you're,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Whereas now it isn't. But yes, certainly she didn't realize how many other people were going through what she was at that time in the 60s.
yeah,
But now it's a lot more talked about, even though it's misunderstood
yeah,
still, because
yeah,
people will say, gee, I'm really depressed today. And well, snap out of it. Life's
yeah.
good. Shut up.
Mhm.
Come on.
Yeah,
It's so silly. Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
I used to work in a group home for
Hmm.
developmentally challenged
Oh, okay.
adults with high medical needs.
Uh-huh.
And working in that environment, I mean, I can't tell
Humbles
you
you.
how many times I thought if I walked in there, someone was going to, live their last day.
Right.
It
Right.
was a difficult and challenging occupation, but it was the most rewarding experience of my life.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you sort of realize what you're made of when you put yourself in any kind of occupation where you are assisting someone with their care, whether it be
Right.
like a nurse or a therapist or a social worker or whatever, or a
Hmm.
teacher,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where you've had many a time where your students have come to you and said, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So my point is you feel everything.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that part of the thing that I'm starting to understand now that I've never really understood before, and I don't know if I didn't understand it or if I wouldn't allow myself to see it,
Hmm.
because I've made reference to it a few times so far tonight, that I've always been like the cool cucumber person.
Uh-huh.
I don't really think that I was. I just think that that's the way that I carried myself.
Ah.
And I
Okay.
think that because I worked in the group home, I know that I feel it,
Yeah.
but I feel it and I push it.
Right. Right. Yep.
Well, it's like
Which probably causes a lot of your stomach. I have terrible stomach issues. I've always had them.
Yeah, 100%.
Whenever anything goes wrong, my stomach, and
Yeah.
I can't be away from the restroom, you know.
It's
But I think
awful.
we do stuff it down sometimes, you know, and that's where it goes.
Yeah, we used to have this thing. Do you remember? Used to be advertised on TV. The patty stacker, you know, for the hamburgers.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I sort of feel like I'm a patty stacker. Like I've just been stacking my, you know, on
That's
top
right.
of it. And I just, I ran out of room.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I ran out of room.
I do. But, you know, all of these insights that have come to you will help you along as well. And
well, all the insights that have come to me, Allie, are because of people like yourself. Well, I mean, you are.
But you were there, right time, right place. You put yourself right time, right place, Kelly, and you were open to the message. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't want to disagree with you because that would be rude. But
oh no, you can disagree with me.
No, honestly, I'm not sure how I landed where I did, but I am just so grateful. Everybody is just amazing. I mean, you share your time, you share your gifts, you share, you know, all of your, you know, I mean, the energy that you all put out, you know, with the love and the light and the prayers and the talking to people and the hours that you spend on time. I mean, honestly, it's just, it's so rare to find so many people that say that they give a crap and actually really do.
And actually really do. I agree with you. There's a lot of imposters out there. Yeah.
Especially right now, it is so rare.
Yeah.
Hi, Adrian.
She's great with all those chakra stuff. Yep. I believe it. Feelings of control,
Andrew,
which we don't
have. Sorry.
That's all right.
I was coming right in and it was like, boom. Gave you a great reading last night.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
oh, she's so good. Reading. She's great, honestly.
Oh, I watched her episode with Tony.
Oh, yes. I watched it and it was fabulous.
The singing bowls and the gongs. And
oh, yeah.
It was amazing. And I thought to myself, well, if she lives in an apartment, she's going to have someone come knocking on her door.
Too practical. Oh, you're welcome, Adrian. We love you, gal. You're wonderful. Thank you.
And she has such a sense of humor. I've watched her with, when she does her show with Johnny from Twirl's Apprentice.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Hell, huh?
They are just a giggle fest waiting to happen. They are so funny.
Fest. They are. So what is the name? Do you know the name of your channel that you're going to choose?
I think it's just going to be like Dozen Cats for Me.
Dozen Cats for You.
Probably like Wellness Chats or something like that.
Yeah.
But Dozen Cats for Me will be in there. And
so you're just going to open it up to doing not readings, but videos and things from the one you already have.
And talk to people, and you know, we'll do some manifestations and visualizations. I'm really good at visualizations. That I can do. Like that one I've got down.
Great.
And I sort of really want to sort of you know, take someone on the journey with me.
Absolutely.
Will I find myself?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you, Adrian, by the way.
We're looking forward to it. I am so thrilled for you, and you know that I'm here to support you, as well as so many in the chat.
I couldn't have done it without you, Allie. Honest to God, you are such a treasure. I hope you know how much you are appreciated. I mean, I can't speak for anyone else, but you've made a difference in my life. So, and I mean, I truly, truly appreciate it.
That's the reason I'm here, is really more than it's not a burden, or it's like a joy for me. Yeah. And I realized my whole life I've just been waiting to be here. And so I am, and I'm meeting all the people I'm supposed to meet. And if I help a few of them, then that's so wonderful. Yeah. So thank you for everything. Thank you, Kelly. It's been a wonderful talk.
Your students are very, very lucky to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm about ready to retire. I would like to retire, but I feel like they're at the age that they need a little bit of mentoring, I guess is the word. There are all these millennials coming in. And
Right.
so if I can stay and help for a little while, I will. But thank you, everybody. Thank you for everything. And
Well,
thank you,
maybe
Kelly.
when I
And you
get
know
my
you'll be
channel up,
welcome back. What's that, dear? I'm
maybe
sorry.
when I get my channel up and running,
Oh,
you and I
yeah.
can do some
I'll be
oracle
over.
cards together.
I'll come over. Sure. Yeah, I love the oracles. We can do the oracles. And I know that other people here in this chat Adrian and others will probably like to come on too. So
I would love that. That would be fabulous. I plan on hijacking all the chats just because I have
that's
so
the
much
way
fun
it
in
should
the
be.
chat.
Good.
Allie,
Good.
thank you so much.
Thank you, honey. Thank you
I
to
really, really
everybody here.
appreciate it. And
Thank
thank you
you.
to everyone in the chat. I can't see the chat, so I don't know who's in or who's not,
Right.
but I
Yeah,
appreciate
a lot
everyone's
of people here, but yes, and they're all very happy for you. When you get a chance to watch, you'll be able to see what the chat replay is if you look, and you'll be able to see those messages. Yeah,
I wish that
everybody
you
says,
could have seen my kitty cats.
oh yeah, you had one eating your hair when I first started.
Oh yes, that was lovely. Yeah,
we're gonna get to know your cats. We're gonna get to know your cats when you get your channel.
True,
you know.
True. Yeah. So when Allie said hello to me, just so that everyone knows, I was sitting here with the cat in my lap, going, "Oh, how sweet! And you're such a good boy," and blah blah blah. And then just before Allie came on, he had like a chunk of my hair. He was eating away.
Your hair, yeah.
Lovely.
Loves his mama. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This was probably one of the most interesting resilience, very close to how Melinda was able to also explain her situation and how resiliency helped her. And okay, so Butterfly Kisses says, and you can find Butterfly Kisses in my community page, Kelly.
Okay.
Email her. She's being pulled to reach out to you. So there you go.
Aww,
you got the message. Butterfly Kisses. Bye, everybody, and thank you all for taking time to be with us today. Love you all.
Blessings, everybody.
Blessings.